Live from the Mighty Veedverks Airship, I'm Travis Lippert, CEO of Verks Unlimited Limited, better known as Veedverks.
And I'm Julie Richardson.
There's Julie Richardson. I'm messing around with these cameras.
And these are the lovely Sharps.
Amy Sharp.
Wait.
And we're going to squeeze him
Devin
in.
Sharp.
There he is.
There we go. How's that? Yeah, so I'll put the names up on the bottom of the screen here later, I think. I like this. This could be the new camera angle.
This is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
this works.
Look at this. So everybody look at the...
Okay.
We're talking to that
Yeah.
green camera over there. I'm playing Dre Gaines in the background. Thanks for letting me use your music, Dre. Visit Grassroot Greens in Oklahoma City if you need CBD products, I think including ours now.
Yeah.
So, but if nothing else, maybe Floors Mercantile.
Mm-hmm.
Mercantile or mercantile?
No.
Tomato.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
This microphone sounds really weird to me. Hey, Camino. Thanks for joining. I like this new angle. This is great.
Yeah,
So,
this is going to work a little better.
and I think that everybody can hear us okay. And so, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves? You're kind of I've just met you, but you I've known for quite a while, and I'm telling you guys, this is going to be one of the coolest shows I think that we've done. One of the most informative shows. But give
Awesome.
people some background. And
So I entered the cannabis industry doing digital signage a couple years ago, and since 2009 I've been supporting my husband and have watched him grow and start and do this movement. And now I own a company. It's Sharp Solutions Courier, and so we're doing some national growth and expansion, and super exciting. We're super excited for 2019.
Well, that courier, I mean, that's super regulated. I mean, that has got to be intense.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
especially, now that with more states, so, and you're doing it all.
We're gonna try to conquer it. We're gonna see.
Do you know of any other woman-owned courier services like that? I think you're the only
I
one.
think so.
Yes.
nice.
I am woman, hear me roar.
There you go.
Well, there's so many women in the industry that are leaders, and it makes so much sense to me because we're the healers of the home, and this is such a nurturing plant. Well, of course, we're the business owners,
Right.
Or the marketers, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's exciting.
I think so.
Now your turn, because you've been in it for a lot longer.
I've done, yeah. So I started in the industry back in 2009 and have done just about everything that the industry has to offer, from opening dispensaries to running grows to running extraction companies to starting edible companies across the board. So I've been there, done that. Current venture that started because of some things that are personal to myself. I started a CBD company, or can't say I started. I am in the process of launching a CBD line. I have some partners that we're getting the CBD company going, Herbal Farm CBD, and it's more or less trying to get more of the medicine out to the people that need it.
You have a kind of a personal story and a need for it yourself.
Yeah, I recently, it's one of those things that kind of has been on the forefront here in the last few years. It's come out, and just recently at the Cannabis Business Awards, there was a nice segment that was done about a professional athlete that really hit home to me, and I had a nice discussion with him afterwards. And since then, I've kind of, it's one of those things where you kind of come to grips with things. But there's an injury that is occurring that's happening through a lot of athletic spectrums, from football to soccer to rugby to any other contact sport that you could possibly have, and that's CTE. And I think that everything that can be done at this point needs to be done, and there isn't enough being done. So just kind of touching on that, that's why I'm getting into the CBD. I want to see what we can do to help. You know, we were discussing some of this earlier. You know, the athletes in all spectrums. Dale Earnhardt just came out with a book from his retirement, and his was due to concussions. There's a lot of professional football players that are cutting careers short and giving up millions and millions and millions of dollars because they are taking their health before money. And it's an admirable thing, because it's not something that a lot of people are willing to do. Yeah. There's people that you know, you offer somebody, look at Jackass. I mean, there are things that people will do for money.
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out there. You know, these guys are athletes, and they're giving up that kind of stuff because they know what they're doing. And there are people that will beat their bodies up for anything, and I respect the hell out of what they're doing. Part of my thing is I wasn't a long-term professional athlete. I played semi-pro soccer. I played to a professional level, but when I did it in the late 80s, early 90s, there wasn't concussion protocols. Mm-hmm. You got up after you knock yourself out, you get up, you dust yourself off, you go back in, you play the game. I was an avid skier, and I did a lot of extreme skiing, and the same thing. You take a jump off of a 20, 30-foot cliff, and you bite it, your head rings, you knock yourself out, you wake up, your buddies are like, dude, you all right? You're like, I think I'll be fine. Like, that was sick, let's go do it again. And next thing you know, you're back up on the lift doing it again, and didn't know where you were. And you don't really think of stuff like that when you're younger. And now that I'm getting a little bit older, there's things that just don't click the way that they used to, and you start to think about things. And I don't want to, it's a sad thing that you can't find out whether or not you have this injury until you're dead. But this is an injury that has happened to a lot of people, and there's no way of finding out until they do autopsies on your brain. And I really think that, you know, that's why I'm getting into the CBD, is we've got to find a way to get medicine to people that need it, first off. But secondly, I think that we need to open this up to a lot more of a scientific study. We have the abilities of pulling compounds out and being able to find out whether a CBD, a CBN, or a CBG, or THC by itself has what effects on the brain, and being able to study that and seeing how the effects are. I mean, people that know me know that, you know, not the brain, but I have enough common sense to understand what's going on. And we need to get, not just for people that have the exposure, but for, your common guy. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of people out there that probably have these injuries because, I mean, face it, how many high school, from Pee-wee football all the way through high school and into college, how many thousands of athletes do that? They don't go on to a professional level, they go on to something else. But they've sacrificed their bodies and their brains for 20 some odd years of their lives. And now, in my case, here I am coming into my 40s, and you start to lose memories. You start to lose a little bit of body, motor skills. And some people can't handle it the way that other people do. And the last thing I want to do is have somebody that could have been saved kill themselves because they didn't know where to reach out to. Because that's what's happening.
I mentioned it earlier that, if I had younger children playing sports now, they'd be getting CBD as a neuroprotectant. Mm-hmm. I don't care if it's karate or baseball, basketball, mm-hmm. any of those sports, and not just for their brains, but for their muscles, mm-hmm. little prevention.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Everybody asks me, because getting into this, THC has an immediate effect. When you smoke it, you feel it. And you either have a positive or a negative. Depending on your personality, it is what it is. CBD, some people have that same effect, but I always tell people CBD is more of a long-term, it's a marathon. Mm-hmm. It's a lifestyle change. It's something that you're not going to notice tomorrow. You're not going to notice, but in a month, in a year, in 10 years, I mean, they're doing studies to where they're finding that there's reversals of Alzheimer's, there's reversals of Parkinson's. And it's all because you're getting the cannabinoids back into your system that are naturally being depleted. And they've been deprived of them for hundreds of years because it's been taken out of our diets.
You're right about that. I thought I was passionate about this before, but last year at NOCO, we're launching the Amelia line, and I'm trying to get people to, try it. And all these farmers, put it on your arthritis. Because I don't have arthritis. I feel great. And these were people 10, 15 years older than me, I'm like, well, what do you mean you don't have arthritis? Oh, well, I eat hemp every day. And, but yeah, they completely consume it now, and they're seeing the difference. I'm seeing the difference because I'm looking at somebody older than me with not nearly the arthritis and health issues I have. I want that,
Yeah, and it's becoming, for lack of a better term, it's becoming more mainstream. When your soccer moms in the suburbs are going out and buying CBD at kiosks in the mall, we're onto something. And it's not that it's just the new hype. It's not the new... People are seeing benefits, or they wouldn't go out and spend the money that they're spending on doing it. And the sad fact is that we are getting medicine to people a lot cheaper, through CBD, cheaper than what people that need medicine, like diabetics, are getting for their insulin.
Yeah.
And that just, it blows my mind. And, we could go on and on about that for hours, but...
Well, the U.S. government has a patent on cannabinoids as neuroprotectants and antioxidants. It's patent number 6630507. And you should Google it. And there's a Facebook group, Talk to the 6630507 hand. And you should go like that group or join it. And so the U.S. government has this patent that talks about what's it mean, neuroprotectant? It means it talks about Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and HIV, dementia, and also ischemic insults such as stroke and trauma. And this patent it's from October 7th, 2003. So it should not be a Schedule I drug.
They like to keep facts hidden.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's all, it boils down to the dollar. And I hate to say this. I think, with what happened, Farm Bill is a phenomenal thing that happened. I think it has its ups and its downs. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it's still left in the hands of the people that are going to treat it the way that it needs to be treated. My biggest fear is that, it's going to happen, but my biggest fear is that large industry and people that millions and trillions of dollars are going to come into this thing and ruin it. I mean, we're already seeing people tainting this with tainted CBD that they're buying overseas, and people are getting sick. Gross. And it's the typical thing. It taints what we're trying to do. It gives it that typical stigma of these guys a bunch of stoners running around with a weed plant, and that's not what is happening. It happened with marijuana. You've got the people that came into this industry 10 years ago. They were your businessmen. They understood the plant. They respected the business and respected what was going on, and they're still doing well to these days. Then you had your guys that came in and treated this the same way they were treating it when they were sitting on their couch slinging it to their friends. They're not in business anymore because this isn't drug dealing. This is a business. This is a business revolving around a plant that has so many benefits that it's been neglected for so many years that when we start to find something good, you're always going to get somebody that's going to try to do something to keep it bad. Trust me, I respect the hell out of all the black market growers and everything because I was one. But there comes a point where you have to step away and go, be professional. There's more to this than just what we were growing in our basements for the last 25 years.
Right. And that's the vision people have. They think it's in somebody's kitchen, somebody's basement, kind of thing, and it's not the case at all. You know.
No, and when it starts getting to be that size, my fear is that we're not going to get the true potential of the plant, because people are going to go into it and get it for the money. They're not going to do it for the medicine. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed, and I truly believe that there's enough people out there that are going to stand tall and go, no, we're not going to allow you to do that. And I think that's going to come with when the FDA holds their public hearing. We were on a call yesterday. It was Hemp, Colorado.
It's Veronica.
Veronica.
Yeah, Veronica's.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So
I want to give them
Colin-
the proper credit. But the phone call yesterday was a nationwide phone call that addressed a lot of the FDA issues that had come up with the Farm Bill being signed. And we all need to go to wherever they hold this public hearing, whenever it is. We have to go in masses. I mean, I'll be the first one to say I'm not the biggest run down to the Capitol and stand on the stoops and do the thing. I've been fighting for this thing for a long time, but I try to stay behind the curtain a little bit.
Not this time though.
But this is something that it truly has to. If CBD gets classified as a drug, it's going to be handled by pharmaceutical, and it's going to be ruined for everybody else that wants to make this a true medicine for people that need it. If we can get it classified as a food additive, then we're money. And we have to fight for it, because if we don't, we're gonna lose out. And this is one of those few things, everybody talks about, with legalization and medical marijuana and it's all gone corporate and everything. Hell yes, it's gone corporate. If it doesn't go corporate, it's going to fail. And if we don't run it as a corporation, and we don't show the rest of the nation and the rest of the world what's going to happen as we run it as a corporation, as a business, it's going to fail. And you're going to look at the same thing that everybody that's sitting down there with their little corncob pipes down, that marijuana is the devil. You're going to have the same shit. We all know, okay, marijuana is not a gateway drug.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
It's not. It doesn't lead you to a lot of other things. I could sit here all day long and tell you all the other things
Unless it's
that go on, but
getting away from addiction.
Right.
that's the only,
we know they lied
off
to
of
us.
pills.
We know that they lied to us.
Yeah,
We
for all
know
these
that we
years.
know it was bullshit, and it's a shame about that, because some of the stuff that they told us in DARE, I think, is still kind of true. But I mean, maybe PCP. I've never heard a good thing about PCP, but they lumped in cannabis with it, and now we're starting to question. Hey, what about psilocybin, and what about all these? Because everything they told us was a lie about cannabis. It's not bad for you. It turns out it's good for you. It's, it could be the difference between life and death for,
Right.
They've got no credibility. And I think that we are strong enough as a community as a movement, to fight this fight. I think we're fighting it right now. Like, go get loud, people. We're not going to let them take this plant from these patients. And
that's the good thing about this too, is that we're here in Colorado. We've been fighting for medical marijuana. We've been fighting for cannabis here in Colorado. The kicker to this is now we're fighting for a hemp plant. We're fighting for a plant that is a CBD rich plant. We're not fighting for marijuana. This is something that's being fought for on a national level. That's not only going to help. I mean, there's so many different things of this. Not only helping patients, but think of all the farmers out there that are going to benefit from being able to have crops that, let's face it, for the pennies that they make off of corn or off of wheat, they turn that crop and they now turn it into a hemp crop, and they're making hundreds of dollars per acre. Yeah, I mean, we can sit down and do numbers. I'm throwing blanks out there, but the numbers that could be made, and the benefit to the actual soil itself,
Right.
in rejuvenations, that's the overall benefit. We're touching the surface with all of the topicals and the tinctures and everything else. When real money starts hitting this, and we start getting into the textiles, we start getting into the mechanical oils, it's we're going to see.
Material,
I mean, for Christ's sakes, if Brazil can change everything that they have over to canola oil, what's to say the world isn't going to change everything over to hemp oil? Because we can grow a hemp plant a whole lot cheaper and a whole lot sturdier than anything else, and it's been proven through history.
Yep.
And now the world is starting to wake up to it, and it is. I mean, right here, when you've got companies, Coca-Cola going to look to make CBD-infused sodas, Anheuser-Busch getting into CBD alcohol, when all of the big dogs start jumping the fence,
Marlboro buying into.
oh, they've had that shit forever.
Yeah.
I mean,
So Marlboro
How many acres?
bought a 45% stake in one of Canada's largest marijuana companies called Kronos. I think they're not just. I don't even think it's a hemp
it was a toss in
company.
the bucket for them.
And but then the next week, Altria, the owner of Marlboro brands and whatnot, they bought a third of Juul for $13 billion and value, which and Juul is Pax, right? Which is like that first Plume vaporizer that came. Then it was, it's like the Pax by Plume, and then they just went Pax, and then they got into the, what's the marijuana version of Juul?
Oh, it's Pax.
It's bad.
But what's that? It's a slightly different name. It's like another 4-letter name that where I've seen it in dispensaries here with
Yeah, no, because I don't think Pax and Juul. I don't know. I don't know, but I don't think Pax and Juul have anything to do with each other.
oh, really?
Yeah.
My bad.
I don't think that they do.
I totally.
I thought they did too.
I may be wrong in that, but yeah.
Don't take my word for any of that. Then
Yeah, from everything I've ever known is that Pax is just they started with strictly medical, and then they've kind of evolved from there, and they were just their big thing was the actual devices that they were using. The vaporizer came out for the flower, which is kind of advanced for its time, and then the actual pen that came out where you're able to lock it out and play games and all the fun stuff with it.
Right.
And from my understanding is that it was the guys that invented the Pax pen did it under the pretense that there wasn't a good vaporizing mechanism out there for anybody to use, and these were all Silicon Valley, for lack of a better term, nerds that said we're going to make something really fucking cool, and they did, and then it's kind of been duplicated since. But I could be wrong on that, but that's
I'm going to get smart on that and find out. But that's
Christy, please back me up on that if so.
Then that's interesting. I'm going to get smart, and I'll talk. So I don't mean to spread any disinformation. It's a worse story than if it didn't start with like that same group of nerds. I thought it was the same group of nerds, but
That's
anyway,
from my understanding of
Juul,
it
pens. We make vape pens, and so it's pretty interesting that, however, Marlboro just spent a lot of money. It was $13 billion that valued him. So I mean, there's something to that. Those two back-to-back acquisitions. Sorry, I went off in this little mindscape there for a second. I was thinking about the true implications of that. There are
trillions of dollars are about to hit this world because of this. Trillions. That's mind-boggling.
Well, I say it every week, but I still think oil and gas is behind a lot of the slowdown. They don't want to lose. They don't want to lose that oil plastic money.
Right.
It has. I mean, there's always been the people behind it that don't want it, and again, it boils down to who's putting money in their pockets. And now, for lack of better, you've got billionaires that are investing in marijuana. Well, billionaires have a lot of money to put a lot of money into a lot of people's pockets. when people start getting money in their pockets, they start voting the other way. It's the way this country is operated on for hundreds of years. I mean, I'm not preaching anything that and
new.
nobody
Paul Ryan
doesn't
signed
know.
on to the board of a cannabis company yet?
We just got really damn lucky
What is
though
it?
of getting Gerald Pullis in. I mean,
yeah.
Thank
what a
God.
blessing that was. That's going to help us kind of. I would imagine move forward. It's going to put Colorado into a much better limelight because now we're going to be able to do a lot of things that I don't think were allowed before. I mean, the fact that he's going to sign that autism bill is
That's
godsend.
huge.
Yeah,
Godsend.
it is huge. That was so devastating to work, and I
Taking
show up,
Lippert.
but
Chicken
those
food.
mothers that were there and showing up with those kids, can't tell you how well behaved
God.
those kids were in that Capitol room.
And what
So
blows my
proud.
mind is when you see the results, when you can physically look and see somebody change, and when you hear stories. I mean, for Christ's sakes, how can you turn down a mother that says, I couldn't leave my 10-year-old in the room with my 4-year-old because my 10-year-old had autism and I didn't know what he was going to do to the 4-year-old. And since we've been on this regimen, they play together, life is good, and as a mother to see their 2 children playing together and the comfort in doing something like that, if you can turn that down, you should have a pitchfork in your ass. I mean, it's just, we're talking about human beings and human nature. It's not like we're plugging them full of pills. We're not putting in medicine that is derived out of a laboratory. This is stuff that comes from a plant that when you see a child that is sitting there having seizures and convulsing and you put a CBD oil under their tongue or you hit them with an inhaler up their nostrils
spray.
and you watch within minutes them calm themselves, or you watch an 80-year-old man that has Parkinson's and he puts a little oil for the first time under his tongue and he lays back on the couch and he's like, man, I haven't been this calm in 20 years. These are true stories. This isn't made up bullshit. This is stuff that is happening every day, and people are finally starting to kind of go, yeah, I think maybe we should do something about it.
Well, there's more acceptance than what people think. When I came out of the cannabis closet, I thought everybody was going to show up at my house with pitchforks, and it was just going to be horrible. I got more love and acceptance and understanding.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. The only people that were ugly to me was my family.
Oh no, mine's been
Thanks for
great.
joining, Catherine,
my cousin,
Jenny Gold.
My mama must be flip-flopping in her grave like a fish out of water.
Hey, Jenny Gold.
Jenny Gold.
I love our Jenny Gold.
Team Jenny Gold.
I know. I
Yes.
need to help Jenny Gold. I need to help. We have a
Jenny,
lot of
will you
people
post a
know.
link
We're
to your
talking about
GoFundMe,
that.
please?
And
Our community, we have a lot of sick people that flock to our community for the medical needs. So it's our right, it's our responsibility to help these people, especially our loved ones in the community.
And we have a lot of good organizations out there and a lot of support. And, we refer to everybody as our Canna fam, and we mean that,
Well, and I think a lot, and also there's a lot of companies out there that are exhibiting that as well. I mean, you look at a lot of the charity events that go on. Amy's company, Sharp Solutions, this last year, a friend of ours, Jason Margulies, who works with Green Dot, has a lot of friends in the industry. He is a cancer survivor, and this last year got stuck with a lot of medical bills. And in May, when kind of this stuff started to reoccur for Jason, Amy said, I want to do something for him. I'm putting a golf tournament together for him. And honest to God, I told her, don't do it, because I was in the golf industry. I know what it takes to put on a golf tournament. And I said, don't do it. You've got too short a time. And inside of 3 months or 5 months in October, it was 3 months in October, they put on a golf tournament and raised almost $10,000 for him. And we are now going to have an annual Kick Cancer's Ass, Jason Margulies tournament, which is going to benefit somebody every year in the community that needs, any sort of financial help or anything we can do for,
That's
to
her
ease some
southern
strain.
upbringing
Yeah,
coming out.
and
That's
she
the way
does
we
it.
do
Yeah,
things.
and,
My mom
there's
would do
that.
that.
She's got. I
Yes.
mean, there's so many others, but I mean, you look at. I mean, I'll throw it out the Open. They put on a phenomenal tournament. shit, if you don't play in the clinic's charity
clinic.
tournament, you're missing out. That's the
How much
best.
have they raised?
Last year, I'll give a shout out. Ryan Cook and the clinic, the phenomenal group of people. They raised over $200,000 last year alone for MS. They in the next year will be 10th year, and I believe that they're pushing $1 million, if not more, that they have raised for MS through their charity golf tournament.
Clinic. That's
And
huge.
if you don't play in it, you're missing out. It's the best tournament of the year.
Or at least go to it. I don't play golf. But
Yeah, even if not, go to the awards ceremony. Go to the dinner. It's a riot. Go out there. Go out there and just ride around on a golf court and get high. That's the best part about it.
When is this?
They hold it in August every year. It's the first or second weekend in August, and it is just it's a kick in the ass, an absolute kick in the ass. But yeah, but like I said, I mean, I think that as a community, we're seeing a lot of support, a lot of charity work and stuff. So it's not going unnoticed, but I think there's a lot that still needs to be done.
I just think it goes hand in hand. It's what we're supposed to be doing. It's what we're here for, is to help people and then to get the message and the word out.
what I'm finding as far as charity work, there's a lot of mainstream in the Denver area that are there and welcoming cannabis organizations.
Yes.
Like, I have no problem going to the food banks on Friday. There's a certain Friday of the month I go to food banks. And they just give me all the leftover food, and I do food boxes. And we have a lot of support. And especially if you go to any of the city planning economics, I've never been treated ugly. I've always been welcomed.
Nice.
So, if the more we get involved in the outside, the more support we'll get.
We had the golf tournament. I got to give a shout out to Georgia Forsey, who did the whole thing, but the Kennedy Golf Course. They were so happy that they had stoners on their course and not a bunch of drunks. I mean, right there at the starter box, we had jars of weed, and people are taking a hit, and the marshal's rocking it out. And he's like, "Hey, do your thing." It was great.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Yeah, you don't see stoners running naked through the 18th
Rolling golf
hole.
carts.
I didn't know that these things really went on. And
Yeah, there's all kinds of little.
I guess
things that go on.
I just finally started. How can I not start golfing now?
Yeah, there you go.
Everybody should golf, even if you don't play. It's just go out there and whack it around and putt. It's
Yeah, I like doing that, but
It's a great sport.
I just like to walk the
taught me.
courses, because they're just so beautiful. And
Definitely.
of course, where we're from, they have alligators in the.
I know. We're allowed to.
so
Not
with
a
this
problem here.
with this farm bill, like, what's business going to look like? Everybody is the hemp industry, and like, I think that the marijuana side of the industry, which the farm bill, I mean, basically divided it into companies that touch Delta 9 THC / THCA and companies that don't, but it's all the same plant. But it's at first there was jubilation and yay, the farm bill, and then that afternoon the FDA came out with a statement that said a bunch of
they were waiting for it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They didn't
just
want to make any
moments
statements
after.
prior to.
So what happens next? Like, what's this year going to look like?
That's, I think, the $1 million question, or the multi-million-dollar question.
Way more than $1 million.
If I had a crystal ball, honestly, I think that what we're going to see is a lot of what we saw here in Colorado from the start of this. In 2009, I was throwing 10, 15 pounds of weed into a backpack and running out to every other dispensary and trading and buying and selling and doing all that stuff. And then in time, it got regulated. I have a feeling a lot of that's going to happen here. Up until this point, you've had a lot of companies that have gone out and kind of just have done their thing. And I'm not discrediting anybody, but there's been no guidelines as to what you can and cannot do. The FDA passed this thing, or the Farm Bill passed, and now the FDA is stepping in. I think we're going to be faced with a lot of the same things. They're going to say you can do this, and we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this for a while, and then they're going to come in and go, oh wait, no, we're going to have you do this, and so everybody's going to have to change and then go do this, and then after everybody gets to this point, they're going to go, oh yeah, by the way, we just found out that we think that this is going to make it a little bit better, so you guys are going to have this. And it's just going to kind of be that same thing that we've had to do here in Colorado all along the lines. I mean, look at what happened in July. Everybody was faced with the relabeling issues. I mean, it's just one of those things that's going to happen. From what I gathered yesterday in the phone call is that a lot of it's going to be focused on marketing and the way that labels are presenting themselves and the way that products themselves are presented. They cannot have any sort of claim. They can't have any sort of dietary statement. They can't,
like a vitamin.
They can't have, for example, I mean, if you have something that says this will promote blank, it cannot have that on your product. If it says that this is a pain cream, it can't say this is a pain cream because it's stating that it fixes you. It's a cream. It's a lotion.
Right.
I don't know.
Soothing lotion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wish I
an
had the answers
invigorating
for
lotion.
how that
Or
is
it's
going
an
to go.
unscented lotion.
But I
That's
think
what we're
exactly
going-
trying to keep it as generic
That's-
as you can possibly get
That's
it,
what we want.
and just have your logo, have everything done, and make it as generic as we can. Abide by what they're looking at, trying to do for now, and just wait and see where we're at. We don't really have. There isn't much of a choice.
Right.
I don't think that they're going to go. If you've got something on your shelf right now that says that this cream is a pain relief cream, or this capsule will help your joints, or I don't think that that's on your shelf right now. FDA is going to come in and shut you down.
Right.
I don't think that's happening. I think that if you're promoting a lot of your stuff, and I mean this because the e-commerce is where a lot of CBD product is sold. I think on your websites and everything like that, if you're not being careful on that, that's going to hit you. We heard yesterday that there were a couple of companies that Facebook had already shut down.
And bank accounts.
And bank accounts are getting seized. There's still,
Seized?
Seized or shut
Not
down.
just shut down.
Well, seized, shut down, one are the same. Some are getting. I mean, I would imagine.
Didn't Jason Cranford
Yeah,
just get
right.
shut down?
I was going to say,
Yeah.
earlier when you were talking about nasal spray, like Haley's Hope, Canatol RX, a nasal spray. Jason Cranford got his bank account shut down. So there's yet another.
Jeez.
I don't know what the
That
name of
sucks.
that bank is, but they can join TCF and Wells Fargo and just
Wells
go
Fargo.
eat it.
Yeah. They just stopped a very wonderful company and a man and his wife that have helped
Goodness.
Oh, my
hundreds
goodness.
of families.
tens of thousands.
Oh my
Yes,
goodness.
thousands of
Tens
families.
of thousands.
That's
So
That's-
yeah, but I mean that's again another hurdle of what we're having to face with. I mean, and luckily, again with polls come into play, and I think that with some politicians, I mean, and that's one of the kickers too. God, I would love to run for governor, but this is something I'd get up there and go, dude, I bought weed from that guy in 1980. yeah, okay, so yeah, I did inhale, but no, I mean, but that's. But until we have like-minded people in office that are going to help this, like Jared Polis, who understands. Now, is he going to go out there and free for all? No, there's still be things that have to be regulated, but he's going to be more favorable for things that he truly sees are going to be beneficial. Mm-hmm. And and that's just my true belief, and that's why I voted for him. If that same mentality trickles down the line into other states, into the Senate, we will get things progressed.
And it's moving that way. Did you see the senator that took the edible in Las Vegas?
Utah,
And,
yeah.
Yeah,
Utah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
Well, I think the scariest thing about what the topics of conversation, especially around the call yesterday, was having an over-the-counter limit and and having a prescription
That's
limit.
where the drug.
That
That's
would
where
ruin
between drug and
everybody's
food
stuff.
additive. That's where it's
Yeah.
really gonna. Because if they do coin it as a drug, then they are going to be able to stick limits on the milligrams of what can be sold over the counter, and everything else is going to have to be a prescription behind.
Right.
That's again. As I said, this for what it's worth. Anybody that's listening or anybody that's out there, if you have any sort of hope that we can make this work, we have to go to wherever they're going to do this and let the FDA know that before they make a decision on how they're going to classify CBD.
Yeah. Well, I have no problem with it being like, I read the back of my turmeric today, for general wellness, has been used for centuries for general wellness. What is general wellness? You know,
That's great.
so
Chinese medicine.
Yeah, yeah, 'cause that's all it can say. You know,
Regulate. That's what I'm not talking about. Regulate it like tea.
there you go.
Regulate it like carrots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a commodity.
It's a commodity.
It's a commodity.
It's a commodity.
Yeah.
I mean, let it fluctuate like anything else. Let it be on the exchange. You know,
There's no reason why it shouldn't be.
no.
right.
In fact,
Honecker.
hemp futures are going to be traded next year. That's
Oh, wow.
crazy. Think about
Right?
that. The Chicago Mercantile Exchange, there's no reason why they wouldn't be trading hemp futures.
That's right.
It's a whole new business.
That's right.
Crazy.
That'd be great.
Crazy
Exciting.
times.
Exciting.
Well, I'm still optimistic. I
We
think
have
that
to stay optimistic.
I think that I mean, people have been taking videos of their kids for too long now. Like, we have so many videos of these kids who this is just, I mean, think about that. You're a parent and having to film your child having a seizure
To prove that something works.
to prove that it works. Think about how bullshit that is.
It's heartbreaking.
It gets me
It's frustrating.
really upset when
Yeah.
I think about it.
I
Because
agree
I
with
mean, we know a lot of these kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's they're not, I don't know, we got a lot of videos and
Yeah, and it's
as
not
loud
just
as we
children.
can.
No.
It's not
Oh,
just
it's not
children.
just
That's
children.
the
No, I have had
that's the
epilepsy.
thing is it's not just children. Children are seeing the benefit, and don't get me wrong, I love kids, but children tug at your heartstrings. That's what it does. That's what. But trust me, when you see an elderly man that is able to get the same effects,
Yeah.
it still has the same effect. When you see a 30-year-old, a 20-year-old, it still has the same effect. It has to be accessible, and it can't be. It can't be overregulated. It just cannot be overregulated, and I'm
They're
afraid
here.
that that's what's going to happen. Is
So-
that if you get limited to certain milligrams on over the counter, and it starts to be regulated, then it puts it right back into the hands of the people that we've been trying to get out of their hands
Right.
with all the opiates, because they've sucked us into that, and they've shown it. I mean, it's already been proven. Do they have our best interests? Probably not. Are they going to use anything they can? And this is again where you have to look at Monsanto.
Yeah.
You think they're not going to want to have bigger, better,
Now it's Bayer.
or whatever the hell. I mean, yeah, but
Makers of Zyklon B, Roundup.
they're going to kind of. They don't care about the health of anybody. They care about, if I can get a plant that these guys are getting 3 a light and I can get 10 a light, they're going to do it, and they don't care about the consequences behind it.
Right.
And that's, again, one of the biggest fears. Like I said earlier, about the synthetic CBD that's coming in from China and, overseas, that is making people sick. They just had an article about that, a bunch of people in Canada that got this stuff, and, it gives the true benefit of what we have the bad name.
Right.
And that's the saddest part about this, is that every time we, it's a dance. Every time we take 2 steps forward, somebody forces us to take a step back because of stupidity.
Right.
Or lack of education.
Yeah.
Or just not caring. Or greed. I hate to say it. Greed is going to kill this industry. We were talking about this earlier. People, I hate saying this because I love this industry, but I've been in it long enough. There is a lot of backstabbing. There's a lot of dirt talking. There's a lot of jealousy. Somebody does something and, they did that for their own benefit. Maybe so, maybe not. But if there was less of the crap and more of this,
Right.
we'd be a lot stronger at this point too.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Control for smilers can't be bought. Sorry. Right?
Yeah. That's funny. But, you know, and there's a lot of bad apples, but we tend to weed them out, you know.
There's going to be more coming in.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
They
that's
just
the
fluctuate
saddest fact of it is that, you know, and that's why I'm hoping that the people that are in here now, and we've got a lot of really good people in this industry, and I think that they're all wanting to transition into the bigger and brighter things. Again, shout outs. Bob and the guys at Incredibles.
Yeah.
I mean, for what they're doing and moving their whole mindset into expanding as well. You know, my heart dropped yesterday when I heard them talking about CBD not being able to put into edibles.
The first time.
I mean, that was the first thing that I thought of. I was like, that's bullshit. I mean, how can a chocolate that has something beneficial in it be told you can't have it because of a certain ingredient? Mm-hmm. Which has been approved.
Proven.
Meanwhile, you can go get a Monster Energy drink.
Yeah, that will give you a heart attack.
Yeah,
Literally.
You know? Yeah, or a TIA or.
Mm-hmm.
And on your hands, the government holds the patent for this.
And
It's
even
the most
on
confusing, frustrating thing ever. But
Yeah.
I wonder if I played Rage Against the Machine and they came after me for a copyright strike. Wouldn't that be ironic? Like if, but I just keep wanting to play the.
Yeah.
There'll be no.
I don't plan on rolling over. I think they're going to regulate us in new and newly uncomfortable ways, and we're going to have to spend a lot more money on stuff. And I think that existing businesses that I just keep saying the toothpaste thing. If you're Colgate, I mean, I haven't heard anything that says that, you know, if you just put CBD in toothpaste, if that would, would that be allowable? Because if so, I'd rather own Colgate than the biggest hemp company on the planet right now, because they're already in every single grocery store, every single Walmart and Target and everything. They have total market penetration with at least one little crummy bottle of toothpaste, and they can put in 50 cents of CBD and mark it up, you know, $3.
No,
and I think that's what 2019 is going to start to look like, is the people who already own the machinery. Here's another rage against the. I want the.
There you go.
Fuck the G rides. I want the machines that are making them. Right. The people who have the existing manufacturing capacity and the existing traditional distribution networks, I think are going to. I mean, you'd be stupid if you're them, and you can get into the industry and you don't. Like. Why wouldn't you? It's like, should we add, you know, garlic to our salsa and come out with a new SKU? Well, if you can sell, right? I think they're gonna. So
it's mentality, and it's education, and it's getting people the right knowledge of what truly is happening. I mean, like you're saying, it's the large ones, but then you're also going to have the large ones that are going to fight it. You got, Publix. The heiress of Publix has already put forth a lot of money
In Florida.
to fight marijuana in Florida. I mean, there's still going to be a lot of opposition to this because of the old school mentality and the fact that people are still making money doing something that is competition. And and it'll balance itself out in time, but yeah, it's going to take a lot more of the. My hopes is that these larger companies come in and acquire the people that have been doing this, that know what they're doing, and say, look, you've got something here that's worked. You're proving that it's working. We're just going to suck you right up and in. You're going to become part of the whole little pod here, and it just kind of keeps going. And those larger companies aren't coming in and trying to, fix the wheel. All they're doing is putting a little more grease on it to make it go a little bit faster.
Hopefully that's what happens. Hopefully they acquire and don't push out and lead us all to death.
Right.
But they're here.
I think that they don't have enough hemp to push people out.
That's a good thought.
I don't think they're not in 19.
Not yet.
Or not
a good point.
up
That is
until
a
the
very
next
good
harvest.
point.
I don't
Supply
think.
and demand, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, look
I
at it
mean,
this
you
year.
can't. I mean, you can go with money and go buy anything, but at some point, you're just going to run out of actual plants that are being grown, and I don't think that they can come out with their.
And that's the thing too, is if this is actually done strategically, it could be something that would, I mean, honest to God, it would change the world. Because if you did this strategically and the government actually worked with farmers and said, look, okay, this season we're going to grow this season we're going to grow this season we're going to grow this, and this season we're going to grow this. Farmer Tom, you're going to be on the exact opposite growth schedule. So this year you're going to grow this, and then next year you're going to grow that. So that every farmer out there has a regimen of how they're growing. It's benefiting them because they know that their crops are automatically being bought up because they have guaranteed purchasing for their thing. They, let's face it, there's no guarantee in crops. You look at the orange, the orange trees down in Florida when the freezes come through. Marijuana is a lot sturdier of a plant. You've got a lot less chance, unless, like what happened in Carolinas, natural disasters. You get a hurricane goes through and wipes out 3/4 of people's crops. Mm-hmm. Shit's going to happen. But if we have it to where it's government worked, all that stuff is insured. They're not going to lose out that year. We're going to have a little shortage of this, and we feel it like any other commodity that is on the market. Mm-hmm. But if we can do that, we're going to have so much product that it'll be something that will be able to rival any other large agricultural commodity that's out there. Mm-hmm. For sure.
And it can be used just to rotate into a field that maybe you would have left fallow. Mm-hmm. And maybe that field you had just been growing our bread on, and that field is just laden with Roundup, and so now you've got this problem where you've got this nasty ground, and I'm not buying any CBD that comes from that. Then again, maybe a big toothpaste company or somebody, like, maybe it could be sold, but I'm saying it's going to be, but you could just rotate in that hemp crop, and sequester some carbon. Maybe there's going to be,
because they're not going to care if it's GMO or
No.
Nope.
I mean, not GMO,
it's going to benefit everybody in the long run anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. If I'm a farmer and I have my acreage over here growing, and my neighbor is doing the same thing, but his plants aren't certified, and his plants turn, and let's just say they have a couple males in there, and we get a nice strong wind, and I'm 3 weeks away from harvest, and next thing you know, my entire crop has been germinated, and I'm got little things going out, and now I'm shit out of luck. I mean, it's working together through this so that little things like that don't happen. Those are things that you think maybe, now it may seem like a small deal, but I would have to venture to say in the near future, that's going to be something that people are going to have to take into consideration, and we're going to have to look at a larger scale of how we are doing this opposed to what it is now. I mean, I commend everybody, and this is getting to become, it is a worldwide thing, but people are still looking at it on a micro level.
Well, that's already happening in northern Colorado. I know somebody that's all of his stuff is going undercover now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
He got because every crop he had got pollinated.
Wow.
Yeah, they're all going to get pollinated, and out in the plains.
Yeah, unless you coordinate it with other farmers, and you have seeds that have been germinated perfectly for that.
I guess pollen can travel in very large distance around the world with the right amount of wind, and that's a very windy area of the country. I was in Kansas next year for their pilot program, at most you'll be able to grow 80 acres per section.
Really?
And I wonder if maybe that is an attempt to
Kind of isolate that.
Oh, right.
maybe there's some more logic behind it.
I wonder
That's the, I've just always thought it's a mistake on their part. Just let people grow enough. Or just if you've got 160 acres, or let people go for it, grow it. But maybe I don't think there's any logic. I think it's just a
But you've got to
licensing
look at it, though.
thing.
I mean, I would hate to do that if I had, let's hypothetically say I'm a flower gardener and I have a huge flower company and I'm growing that and I get stuff that's pollinated that, now I'm supposed to have red roses, but they got pollinated. Now I have red and white roses, and my entire, it's the same type of philosophy. When you're going on the farm side of it, you have to be weary of your fellow farmers. And when this goes to a much larger scale, that's something that's going to be taken, and it has to be taken into consideration, because for what hemp is being done for and everything else, the seeds are great, but anybody that's dealt with anything that has seeds in it knows that there's a lot. The male plants act differently and have different extractions. They have different smokes. They have different compounds. They have everything different than a female plant. Just because of the oils and everything that come along with the seeds, they just change.
Well, a lot of people, we have people that have hot crops because of, fertilizers and pesticides being blown. And you don't really think about this danger of plants just basically doing what plants do and reproduce.
Maybe that's why they're killing off all the bees,
I hope not.
so that they can replace them with robot bees.
If the bees go, we all go.
Yeah. But, I posted a really cool article that one of the Veedverks owners sent me to share about how bees and hemp, not only they're helping pollinate, but the pollen is feeding the larvae, the baby bees.
Oh.
And so it's late season food for the bees and helping keep hives alive. And I'm like, yes,
Nice.
hemp and bees, they're going to save each other.
Yeah.
Nature.
Yeah.
Can I make my exocannabinoid system joke again?
Absolutely.
Well, the bees can't get high, right? Because they don't have endocannabinoid systems.
Oh,
They have exocannabinoid systems. Get it? Bug joke. It works better for lobsters.
Dragonflies.
Yeah, I like bugs.
so when do y'all think you're going to have your company rocking and rolling, ready to go?
So because of everything else, I've taken the stance of I don't really want to, because we were just on the verge of launching, and I don't really want to put anything out yet that isn't, it's going to put somebody else at risk. So we are in the process of changing all of our labels. I'm making sure that whatever I put on someone's shelf is not going to put them in any sort of harm's way.
Right.
And so that's kind of been the delay on that. We're working on redoing all of our labeling and putting whatever necessary verbiage we have to have on it to kind of cover it, because we had some of that gray area marketing, where it kind of gave a little description of what this is intended to do, and you cannot do that. So I've got quite a bit of product that we're going to have to go in and relabel, but to me, I think it's worth it just to not put anybody else at risk. And again, it's, if you're going to do something, let's do it the right way and not put another black eye on the industry.
So what does relabeling entail for you? Like part of the
Pulling
one of the hardest
all the
things,
shit and getting stickers and
Yeah.
all the old stickers off, but new stickers on.
So it's sticker work. It's not like a reprint.
No,
Reprint.
you
Like
reprint the
reprint
stickers
boxes.
and then
Yes.
it's all on individual labels. And
That's what we're scared of, is
everything
having
else.
to reprint boxes.
All your boxes and all your labels.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like in a
Clean up a Facebook pages.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
I've got a guy working on the
Sparky.
website,
Yeah.
taking care of all that stuff, or pulling some stuff down, and because again, I'm not
I'm
not gonna
rather
risk
than what, just get the letter, the nasty gram, where they tell you to do what you're doing.
No, they're just
Proactively.
shutting down people's websites and Facebooks.
And that's the kicker too.
Are they really?
They're doing everything, and that's like what we're doing, I've already got we've got an FDA approved kitchen here in Denver that we're doing all of our production out of.
Yeah.
And I've already got our letter of approval for Denver, the city of Denver, and I'm just waiting for our state letter. So we're going to be approved by the state and the city of Denver for the products that we're going to have here in Colorado. But again, I'm not going to risk, just because I have the ability to put it out there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put it out there and put anybody at risk, because I have too many friends that I'm going to be working with and doing this, and I don't like putting people at risk.
Good idea.
We go through a lot of stickers.
Yeah, but it was funny.
Rolls and rolls. And
I went
rolls
in
of
and
stickers.
consulted a hash company. For the last 10 months, I've been doing some consulting, and one of the hash companies I was consulting, as I got in there, I brought in grammars and stuff, and I told these guys, I said, look, you guys work for a hash company, but you're going to be doing a lot of labeling. You're sticker people. That's your job.
Yep.
And that, for lack of it, when you're putting on 3 to 4 stickers onto 1 dram, it just,
Yeah.
you're not a hash company, you're a labeling company. but it's necessary, and that's what they want, and again, that's what we were talking about with CBD and the FDA. Just do what they want.
Yeah.
I mean, fight them if you want to, but all you're going to do is give. It's not going to look good as an industry as a whole, and you run the risk of losing a lot. I mean, why risk the opportunity of having a company that could be worth millions and millions of dollars over changing, let's call it $10,000-$20,000 worth of labels?
But you've got to stay on top of it. You've got to stay on top of your compliance, and then have that bank account waiting for when they make that next change. That's what's weeding people out, I think.
Yeah, that's what
The
killed
mom and pop
everybody in
stores are
Denver's
falling.
industries too. I mean, you had the guys that, with all the regulations that came down, you see there's groups that are succeeding, and then you got a lot of mom and pops that have shut down from the start of this, or they got bought out, or they happen to be that one lucky little neighborhood liquor store. The neighborhood is keeping that dispensary alive. I mean, they're few and far between now. I mean, if you're not part of a larger picture, you're soon to be, or you're going to lose out.
Yeah.
You got to walk looking straight out, right?
There's no walking looking anywhere in this industry. Walking with your head between your arse.
Been 10 years now. It's been a long 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about how long it is in cannabis years. It just seems like it's like dog years. Everything happens so fast.
I had jet black hair when this thing started.
I have no idea what color hair I have.
I've
At least that's honest.
I started coloring my hair when I was a teenager, and I really have no clue. It's kind of dark rose with a little sprinkle in there of,
Yeah, my husband asked
angel
me what color are
kisses.
you?
I'm all natural, in case you want to know. I was really on the fence about shaving today.
Well, I was going to ask you, what is it, beard member?
That was
Yeah.
November.
Yeah, I
That
didn't
was
do
last month.
November.
I shaved mine off, and it's kind of scruffy back, but
Well,
I didn't think I was going to really work this week, and turns out that, it's been a pretty normal week overall as far as...
That's why I don't
But the
see
one
them.
thing is, it's like,
Wait
I'm
till
not going to shave today, even though we're going to go live. So that's why I don't grow a beard. It's because it looks like this.
Thing,
It looks
Nah,
good.
It's a holiday. That's Merry Christmas to me.
I keep trying to look at the spaceship. I'm looking at everything. How
At
cool
the-
it is.
Oh, all the background.
Yeah,
Let's scoot up.
it's great.
I'll switch places with you. so
Oh,
you
look
can
at us
see.
now.
Let's see. Yeah, you can put in a. Let's see. You can switch out. Like I can put something on that monitor and then put that monitor in the background of the blimp. It's pretty capable
Nice.
system.
green screen technology.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah, that was my. So on next Tuesday, is that New Year's Day?
New Year's Day.
New Year's Day.
Wow. So next
Already.
Tuesday, New Year's Day in the morning, for some reason, Michael and I are going to go live and do a show about our New Year's resolution.
Michael Miller.
That you guys
Michael
are braver
Miller.
men than most.
Well, it's
New
kind of the
Year's Day
difference between
early.
time went on, drinking all night versus cannabis, where
Yeah.
True
wake
statement.
up feeling A-okay.
Get up and do a dab and rock it all
Yeah,
over again.
yeah. But so yeah, my New Year's resolution last year, I didn't do a show about it because my resolution was to start doing these
I think that's so great.
shows.
I love these shows.
I'll give my okay. I did that. I completed that resolution.
So what's this
and
year's?
I'm not quite sure yet.
Keep it going.
Well,
Develop more.
Exactly. Grow.
I resolved that I will do everything I can within reason to have an American flag made out of American hemp
Nice.
in 2019. But that's more of like a business thing. It's hard to do for a resolution because it's like, I mean, we'll be broadcasting about it and making, so it's more like a marketing gimmick.
That's great.
So I'm feel pretty strongly about that.
We're not planting hemp with a crop duster anymore.
That part I think we can do. We can't cut it into a hemp maze.
Oh,
But like, what's the resolution? Like, what are you gonna do?
What's yours, Julie?
I have all kinds of, be more organized kind of thing, and
I can't.
we'll see. I've already bought my new planners, and I'm a little
nice.
OCD. Yeah. But
Okay.
I probably being more flexible, just being more roll with it.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's
You know,
great.
because this business goes like this.
You gotta ride that wave.
I recommend if you don't have a New Year's resolution, like choose something like this. Learn how to solve the Rubik's Cube. It's something that you can, go to YouTube and watch videos, and you definitely know when you're done. Like, boom, I can solve it. And be more flexible is like my nightmare resolution. That I never accomplished those.
My resolution every year is to make it to the next year.
Right.
Right. Well,
Sounded like a long phone number. All right. Thank you so
Well,
much
thanks for having us. I
joining
appreciate
Thank you.
letting me ramble, I guess.
Oh no, this is
Some
fantastic.
good ramble.
This is one of those shows where I hey Stanchy, by the way.
hi.
But
Oh,
and
there's
your
my
sister,
Julie Stevens.
Now we're gonna have to go back and listen to this
Yeah.
and shout out to all the people and reach
Yeah.
yeah,
because we mentioned their names. We need to at least let them know we're talking about them.
Right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Right.
yeah.
Well, this has been really fun.
Well,
Thank you so
yeah.
much for
Oh, we
having
didn't do
us.
that. Wait, hold on. Don't. Well, you guys can go, but we got to get the hats.
I guess
your
you're
hat.
gonna, okay, I'll go get it.
Well, how far away is it?
Right here.
Yes. Cool.
This one has flat or.
This is
Do
less.
you wear the hat every time?
No,
I
the
think I've
hat
seen you wear
I
the hat.
want. The hat
was
I
fair
want,
warned.
Sam Proc made, and it's a unicorn.
Let me just, get on this other.
And it's a unicorn?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, I think it's more appropriate.
Look at us.
I should do this more often.
I like my hat.
Well, it's a
Wait,
cold
all right,
enough
everybody,
day.
scooch in and let's look at this one. There we go. Cool. All right, thanks for joining, everybody, and we will see you on Tuesday.
Thanks. That was
Talk about
fun.
resolutions.
All right, I'm gonna run to the bathroom now.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.